Hey gang, Royd Free Sr. Today we're going to talk about Mr. Pat Casey, big bencher, actually big squatter, big all-around powerlifter. This article comes from the 1966 September-October issue, and it is written by none other than Mr. USA, Armin Tanny, who wrote quite a few of the good articles back in the 60s for Joe Weider. He says a bunch of flowery stuff about Casey, but we're going to get right into the meat of things. And where he says 300-pound Pat Casey was not always that big. A mortal man, he started out like anyone else, and that was 12 years ago. If there is a secret to the great proportion of his, it is this: he has never missed more than 2 consecutive workouts in 12 years. So that's 4 times a week without fail for 12 years. He's been making deposits in that muscle bank of his, and he's kept a written record of all of his workouts during that time, as I suggest everybody does. And his notebook is as thick across as his meaty hand. It comes as a shock to realize that great strength does not come easy even to a big man like Pat Casey. You observe the endless columns of practice lifts in the 6, 7, and 8 hundredths of pounds, and you're devastated. You begin to realize what's behind this magical strength, what it takes to make great power lifts like Pat has made. A bench press of 592, a squat of 775, and a 680 deadlift. Nor does Pat himself consider that the ultimate of accomplishment. Still very young, only 26 at this point. His goal is a 600 bench, an 800 squat, and a 700 deadlift. So that's a 2100 total. No one realizes more fully than he the rough road ahead to make these lifts, but he is a natural explorer, probing ever deeper into the vast possibilities that exist somewhere in human tissue. The usual enormous appetite one associates with a man that big doesn't really exist in Pat. Because of the need for leverage and cushion in powerlifting, he keeps bulked up, but an extraordinary metabolism allows him to hold size with a minimum of eating. During his early years of training, he would drink 6 or 7 quarts of milk a day. Milk was big back in those days. And eat a lot of cottage cheese, more dairy. In the summer between his junior and senior year in high school, he gained 40 pounds. At that point, he was 230, and he was 5'11". His arm went from 17.5 to 18.25, cold. Before that sudden gain in weight, however, he had established himself as a bodybuilder with much potential, having won the title of Mr. Washington High School, Los Angeles, weighing 185 at 16 years of age. He was 14 when he started weight training in his backyard at a body weight of 145 and a height of only 5'6". He then joined the gym which Bill Pearl eventually took over and now operates, and he was full of football at the time, but after making his letter in the game, he could not resist the beckoning call of the weights. By the time he graduated from high school, he had already bench pressed 420. Provoked by his earlier success as a physique contest winner, he entered the Teenage Mr. America contest 2 weeks after his graduation, and he trained down to 210, but even at that comparatively light body weight for him, the contest-winning cuts remained elusive, and he only landed in 5th place. At that point, he'd reached a fork in the road. He must be either one or the other, a weightlifter or a bodybuilder. He had the potential to travel fast and far along either road, but he chose to be a strongman. The areas of specialization in today's world require maximum seeding, which must not be thinned out by the wind of diversification. He let his body weight rise and began to dog the bench press in earnest. At 18, weighing 230, he made 450. At 19, weighing 245, he did 470. At 20, he cut down to 237 and did 500. And at 22, he went up to 270 pounds of body weight and hit 540. Today, at 26, his bench press rests not easily at 585. He wants 600. So far, he's entered 20 contests and has 25 trophies to show for it. He enters about 2 contests a year.